Matched with a moderately attractive girl. We talked for a few days before deciding to get dinner and a movie. I picked her up and we headed to the sushi restaurant we had decided on earlier. She is dead silent the whole ride, only breaking it to whisper one-word responses to my small talk. This should be a red flag, but I just chalked it up to nerves. At dinner, she immediately orders a glass of wine. By immediately, I mean we hadn't even sat down yet. This would normally not be a problem at all, but we had just talked about how neither of us really drink much. But, again, I chalk it up to her nerves. After her third glass of wine in 20 minutes I start to get pretty nervous. She doesn't seem to be affected by the wine yet though. This is where I wanted to end the date, but being a silly optimist, I had already bought the movie tickets online. She seems way less nervous now, she's actually talking and we had decent conversation on the way to the theater. I begin to think maybe this date will turn around. But as soon as we get in the theater she heads straight for the bar and orders a full solo cup-sized glass of wine. I mentally check out at this point. During the movie, it becomes apparent that she is absolutely shit-faced. About 20 minutes in, she gets up to go to the bathroom and comes back with another full solo cup of wine. She starts sloppily trying to make out with the side of my face despite me pushing her away. The theater is completely packed by the way. This goes back and forth for a few minutes until I put on my most serious face and gave her a stern no. Her reaction? She starts hysterically crying, asking why I don't want her, just making a big scene that culminates with her saying she loves me. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Shut the fuck up please. You don't even know me." After what seemed like 10 minutes of crying, I finally get her to calm down and she almost immediately passes out. I was ecstatic when I realized she was asleep. My nightmare is almost over. Then I begin to hear what can only be described as a rusty lawn mower with sleep apnea. She's snoring. And it's loud. I could feel my seat vibrate each time she exhaled. Flicking her ear every few minutes was enough to keep her snoring at bay. On the ride back to drop her off, she changed my radio presets, sung, terribly, to every song, and fell asleep. It was a 10-minute drive. I finally got to her house and dropped her off. Before I left I laid on horn for a solid minute, just to make sure her parents woke up. TLDR, a long, not particularly funny, mostly sad, but definitely terrible date story. Tinder is great though, I met my current girlfriend on it and our first date is one of my favorite memories ever. Second story is about to start. He used pictures that were from his early 20s, where he looked a lot more attractive, and a lot more athletic. He is borderline obese. He's 28, the pictures were from age 20 to 21. During our supper, he was drinking beer like water. He confessed that he was separated from his wife and she left him and took their 3 children with her. Turns out he's bipolar, and refuses to take medication, and also tends to get very angry. His wife left because he was a danger to her and their children. There were a million red flags going off for me, but I decided to be nice and stick it out. After food, we go for a drive in my car. We both smoke reefer, so I offered him some of mine. Usually, when I offer, I expect 1 or 2 puffs to be taken. He smoked everything in my full grinder, enough to last me at least over a week, and didn't offer me any of my own shit. Then, he opens my pop that I had in my cup holder without asking. He drank it all, and I hadn't even opened it. At this point I'm visibly annoyed. I start driving back to his place, but he wants to play some music. Okay, one last chance. On the way, he puts on Simple Plan, and uses his phone as a microphone and sings at the top of his lungs, right by my head. I started laughing, because I honestly couldn't believe what was happening. I got to his place, and didn't say anything. He tried to kiss me before he got out, but I put my hand up and blocked it. He then got really upset and started trying to make me explain myself. I told him to get out of my car and go home. He literally tried chasing my car as I left. I drove around for an hour after that to make sure he wasn't following me. I went to my sister's place, and turns out she knew exactly who I was talking about and she laughed at me. Apparently the whole damn town knows who he is and how crazy he is. Luckily, I don't live there anymore and he stopped trying to contact me after a week. I don't think I had anything to worry about regarding my safety, but this is by far the worst Tinder date I've had. Third story is about to start. First year of college I lived in residence. Around the end of first semester I started using Tinder to meet other people in my residence. Matched with this guy who lived in the next building. He always invited me to hang out, but I never really wanted to. I always ran into him in the cafeteria and said hi and quickly left with my friends as I realized I wasn't actually attracted to him at all. During Christmas break he would message me once a day to tell me how beautiful I was, seemed super sweet, and so I thought sure I'll give him a shot, and maybe I was being too shallow. Then he got way too obsessed. He treated me as if we were dating, would sext me randomly throughout the day. He then found me on Facebook and other social media outlets even though he only knew my first name. I told him to tune it down because I felt uncomfortable. I moved back into residence for second sem and he kept asking to meet up, but I came down with a nasty cold. He then messaged me and screamed at me for being a pathetic white girl and I was just like other girls. He then became the joke on the floor as weird beard and everyone helped me avoid the guy.